as we say every single Monday morning, tis vibe. What is up, nerds? It's me, your buddy pal Hey Archer. Welcome back to Nerdy Coffee here on Nerd Affiliated. We're double fisting today. This one's hot. This one's lukewarm. Gonna be some refilling going on today because it's Monday. Alas, it is Monday. This is your weekly nerdy show where we sit back, just like on Thursdays. We relax, just like on Thursdays, but we drink that brew. Talk about last week. Talk about all the latest shows that have dropped, what's coming out this week. We, of course, talk box office numbers, which is always fun. And whatever it is that you want to talk about. So, of course, interact with each other in the chat. If you've got a YouTube channel, podcasts, blog, OnlyFans, newsletter, smoke signals, whatever it may be, put it in the chat. Support one another. Plug. Yo, shit. My boy Dre will be joining us a little bit later on the show, so that will be fun. Hello to Aaron Waller in the house. Hello to Yukon Phil in the house. Parents just parenting. I know that's what you guys are doing right now. But yeah, we have a lot to discuss, so it will be a good one. Just wanted to make sure I pull up. There's one more thing I wanted to talk about, and I want to make sure I had that up. So, as I mentioned, hello to everybody. Aaron Waller in the house. Like I said, parents just parenting. There you go. JB's Toy Trunk, Yukon Phil. Everybody's saying hi to each other. The general in the house. I messed up again. I don't have the chat on screen. Let me see if I can figure that out real quick. I need like a producer. I need a TV show producer to help me out with this. Let's see. Ah, there you go. Right back. We're right back to where we were. So what's going on, everybody? How was your weekend? Let me know if you picked up anything good. I feel like there was a lot of good toy hunting this weekend. A lot of stuff has dropped. And what is this guy's name? There he is. A lot of good things have dropped, and it's been an expensive couple weeks, to say the least. We had a lot of new shows come out. We had some new seasons release. I can't find this one tweet I was trying to pull up. I should have had this one earlier. Anyway, a lot has happened. So, as my mind is scattered, we will, of course, be talking about The Flash. The Flash discussion will happen. That's going to be a little bit later. I'm going to bring up The Flash as we get closer to, or in, the box office recap portion of the show. But I figured, why not talk about last week's releases real quick? Because it hasn't been too much. By the way, happy birthday to the affiliated Josh right there. Today's his birthday. So make sure in the comments you drop a happy birthday to him in case he comes in later on in the show. Who knows? Leave a thumbs up if you can. Subscribe if you've not done so already. And if you want to be a member of the Nerd Foundation for 99 cents, your name can be up here. Oh, and we are trying to hit a subscriber goal of 2,000. So we're on the road to that. That's what this bar is down here. Cool beans. All right. So this one's going to be, oh, there he is. All right, let's see. He's getting his camera ready. And let's bring in my boy Dre. Can you hear us? Hello, can you hear us? feel like he doesn't. Can you hear us?
Uh, Again, do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. What's up?
Sweet. I'm doing good. Sorry, I was running late. My
No, you're
little
good.
she was having a rough night last night, so I had set my alarm and literally overslept by 5 minutes.
No, you're good. You're good. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Nerdy Coffee.
I'm
Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
not that I love it. This is awesome.
Yeah,
I love coffee and I love being a nerd, so it's a win.
it's a win-win. We had scheduled this because of Flash discussions, and I completely forgot. I'm glad you reminded me. Well, then my calendar also reminded me today. So I'm glad that you and my calendar are on the same page. I'm the one that's slacking.
Ah, no, dude, we're all slacking. That's life.
It is life. So I thought I'm on nerd news right now. I had some Flash news to discuss, but I'll save that for our Flash discussion, which is going to happen in the box office recap portion of the show, because I feel like that's, of course, the bigger news of the box office week. Sound good?
Of course.
Yeah. Actually, I lied. There's one bit that we'll get out. Actually, I'm gonna hold that off too, just in case. Just in case. But you know what? I'm being rude. You are a first-time guest on the show, so why don't you take a couple minutes and plug yo shit? What do you have going on?
All right. Well, obviously, folks, my name is Dre. I have been a YouTuber for quite some time, but recently I decided, why not restart my channel? And I did. And dealing with a lot of just the hijinks and shenanigans of people that did not want to collaborate with me, I decided to kind of fork out on my own again. And I've met a group of guys that are just amazing, with which Archer is a part of that group. And we've created the Collector Safe Space, which is what eventually this new channel is, or this old channel is going to become. So pretty much it's going to be supporting the little guy, little girl person that just wants a place that they can talk toys, feel safe for who they are, and enjoy being just meeting like-minded collectors that enjoy collecting toys and just having a very good just mindset, not having to deal with the drama and or I guess BS that people have to put up with sometimes.
Yeah, love that. And that's the thing. It's one of those weird hobbies where, a lot of people do it, but not enough people do it where you're not made fun of for it. So it's good to have a spot where other collectors can kind of just hang out, shoot the shit, and talk about what they love.
Facts.
So Yukon just said hi to you. I'm not sure if you can see the chat on your screen.
I on my phone screen, not because like I said, my laptop is kind of
DOA.
dead. Yeah, we know that I'm getting my new computer set up actually this Friday, which is awesome.
Nice.
So dealing with my phone, which is way better. So Phil, great seeing you.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
Tell me what it is.
I will. I'll read off chats as they are sent to us on the
Perfect.
show today. Cool. All right. So first thing in news, this one's probably my favorite news blip of last week. All of Dragon Ball Z is coming to Crunchyroll. And the reason this is a big deal to me is it includes the movies as well, which up till now, unless you had them on VHS or you had a bootleg DVD or you bought them on iTunes, you couldn't watch them.
Wait, so even the older stuff like that we had, if it wasn't Sentai Filmworks.
The Funimation?
Yeah, Funimation used to have them. So if you didn't have those on like DVD, bootleg, or even official DVD, because then they release a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. They did.
Wow.
But the DVD releases were also like, the official DVDs were English only. So they're going to have English and dub, or sub and dub on Crunchyroll. So I might actually have to sign up for it. I've never had it before. So
yeah,
pretty excited for that.
My older daughter once was trying to watch Spy X Family and ended up getting a computer virus because stepdad was like, hey, go to this website and I was like, my wife, yeah, great move there. And I was like, oh, I'll pay the $6 a month because I love Crunchyroll.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's one of those, like, they made it so hard for so long to watch anime, and now that it's easy, the only issue is there's so many apps out there. So it's like at a certain point you got to figure out, like, all right, which apps can I keep? What do I get rid of? All this stuff. So
Oh God,
so
so true, so true.
yeah. All right. So this next one is an interesting one because I feel like Disney keeps losing executives. So
Oh no.
we have Disney's diversity chief leaving after quote unquote woke policies controversies. Now,
Wow.
this one I will take with a grain of salt because everybody likes to throw the woke word around, so I'm not sure how legit that is in this case. But this is another executive leaving Disney, which continues to not be a good sign. Do I think Disney's going to go away? No, but you had head of CGI for all like the movies get fired. You had what was the one last week? There was the person that was in charge of Marvel specifically, not Dave, not Kevin Feige. There was another guy who was like a C-level person over Marvel. He got canned, and now we have this person leaving. So I'm not sure what's going on over there at Disney, but they're not having a good time.
They're not. And Eisner got put back in office, which everybody loved. But then they're saying like he's not doing enough because the parks aren't making enough money
Oh,
because they said
Bob Iger.
yeah, Bob Iger came back,
Mhm.
and Iger when he comes back, everybody was like, Iger's gonna save the parks. Iger's gonna save Disney, and guess what? He really hasn't because their company's tanking. In a little bit of ways, the parks are suffering because of attendance, and Universal is killing it,
Mhm.
beating them in both California, Japan, and Orlando. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's crazy. It's crazy times over there, and it's not even like their movies are making up for losses happening on the app side or any of the park side. I mean, hell, Secret Invasion dropped. I mean, we're going to talk about that in last week's releases, but nobody's talking about Secret Invasion. It's just silence.
oh, but you know why though? Because it was that whole thing with the Marvel exec and the CGI people were like,
Yeah.
let's pump out as much shit as we can.
Yeah.
And Disney then screwed up because they were pumping out like movie after movie, like Strange Worlds,
Mm-hmm.
and like everybody was like, "Oh, let's sweep these movies that are kind of woke that are woke and good
Right.
under the carpet.
Yeah.
Let's take off here from the streaming service and any movie that's not successful, and not tell anybody, and then realize little by little it's starting to happen, and bang,
Yeah.
you know,
No, and
terrible.
even now with I'm kind of glad you mentioned that because even with the writer strike now, one of the things that they're fighting for is more revenue to the writers off of stuff that went straight to streaming because they were getting pennies on the dollar versus if something goes to TV or movie in the traditional sense, they get more money. And all these companies are like, no, we're not paying you for that. And they're like, all right, well, we strike. And one of the things mentioned the other day was Disney pulled a whole bunch of stuff like the Willow TV show off of the app. And people think it's because those shows are not getting enough views that they're like, you know what? I'm not going to keep this on there and have to keep paying these writers or potentially have to pay these writers. We'll just pull this stuff off.
Well, here's the
So,
thing. Again, now I'm a big physical media fan, so
mm,
I own like on Blu-ray. Strange Worlds I know did not come out on Blu-ray.
mm-hmm,
So, like, what happens when it is only streaming related and stuff like Willow and Strange Worlds? Like you said, what happens to that revenue? Where do those people get their money? Because
yeah,
it's gone. It never came out in a physical media format
yeah,
yet, and now fans are out there because we only want streaming. Nah, I still believe in physical media. If it's a movie I want, I get it.
yeah, yeah. No, there's a lot of people doing that now. It's funny. There's a little resurgence in the VHS collecting space. Like people are out trying to find VHS tapes that are still sealed, and they go for hundreds of dollars. It's kind of crazy.
Crap, I wish I sold all the ones we had. We had a bunch of Disney ones,
Mm.
and we
I
just
mean,
donated.
think about Star Wars. I mean, the only way you could watch the original version of Star Wars is on VHS, maybe
Hmm.
DVD, but even then, that's when Special Edition came out. So,
Yep, and that was what that was when they had them released back in before Attack of the Clones
yep,
and
before the prequels. Yeah. Hmm.
God, I feel
Crazy.
old. To say that.
So the next thing, going into the Comic-Con space. So this one I thought also did not get enough kind of press, because this is very similar to me to E3. So
Yes.
right now we have Netflix, Sony, HBO, and Marvel skipping San Diego Comic-Con, which to me is kind of insane, because that's what makes San Diego Comic-Con like that big of a deal, is that you have the major studios going to that one, they go to New York, and that's kind of about it. But
Hmm.
if the bigger studios aren't going, then what's going to even be the point of these shows? Will it go the route of E3 where it just kind of fizzles out? Have you
Uh
have you been to San Diego or New York?
never. It's on my bucket list.
Mhm.
I For me, I've gone to Dragon Con, and that was a very big
That's a major
experience.
one.
Yeah, like going there was huge because I mean I don't have people anxiety. My wife
Hmm.
and my kids do, but
Hmm.
I definitely had a little people anxiety being at Dragon Con because it
Hmm.
was like a lot. But I know SDCC is on my bucket list to do, and when I saw that in the news a couple days ago, that all the major companies were pulling out because, like they said, Netflix pulled out because they had their South American like convention. They went to like one of the big
Hmm.
cons there, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna just take off SDCC," and I'm like, nobody takes off SDCC. Like
No.
that's we get all the major movie trailers, we get the major news. Like
Yeah.
for us YouTubers and podcasters, that's like our bread and butter. And
Hmm.
y'all ain't going there. What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. No, really weird. And the only reason I found out was this Twitter account, which belongs to Dan Yun. Apologize if I'm saying his name incorrectly. Dan is one of the only reasons I buy Marvel Legends, because I make videos. A lot of us make videos where we bash Marvel Legends and we're like, "Why'd you do this?" Whatever. Dan works on the Marvel Legends team, and actually at times does better damage control for Marvel than Hasbro does. Sorry, I should have said Hasbro. I don't think I said that at the top, but he works for Hasbro on the Marvel Legends side. So he made this post saying we're still going. So to see some of you guys at the Marvel Legends booth at SDCC, and I was like, wait, what? I was like, what are you talking about? And that's when I kind of started scrolling. But if you've not done so, I'm gonna throw that link in the chat. Like, here's his brother with the Marvel Legends Magneto helmet. Like, Dan just seems like a good dude. Like, when you read his tweets and some of the hate that people leave under his Twitter, he brushes it off. He's nice to everybody. And the Twitter handle, Dan Yun is trying, I think it's so applicable to him.
Well, Hasbro's doing a lot of damage control right now because of the whole WotC stuff. For those of you that don't collect like Wizard of the Coast, like Magic
Oh,
cards, with their whole issue,
mm-hmm.
they're under big fire right
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing too, I love
now.
that. They had just finished another Hasbro Pulse sale, and about a year ago, I said I was going to do a video on like top things that toy companies should be doing that they're not doing, and I didn't even release it, but Hasbro took advice. They're doing more sales, and I think they should do more of them. Like, you should have a just on sale section on the page, 30% off, whatever, and just clear out the inventory at this point, because people aren't buying in volume like they used to because of some of those price hikes.
Truth.
Yeah. JB saying Dan does seem like a good dude, and does seem like a good dude, and that's what it should be about. Yeah, yeah, he is. Good morning, Kathy. Good to see you.
It should be. Good morning.
All right. So, last thing before we go into, we'll do last week's releases next. this isn't a spoiler, but it should be highlighted. Marvel allegedly, I realized it was cut off there. Marvel allegedly told the director of Secret Invasion to not read Secret Invasion before making Secret Invasion. And first, I'll ask: did you see the first episode?
I did.
You did. True or false? Does it not just seem like the Falcon and Winter Soldier show was just a swap of terrorists for Skrulls?
Yes.
It's crazy.
It's not bad. It's not bad though. Like I think
it isn't.
But
mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. It's not bad, but it definitely felt like let's just take this template and swap for this.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm gonna keep watching the show. I want to support the show because I want to support the more serious type Marvel shows because I don't think we get enough of those. And for that, I'll keep watching it. But it's so blatant that they were just rushing through stuff that they're like, don't even, come up with a new concept or anything. Let's just retread, find out who the terrorist is, espionage, and go from there.
But there's an aspect to it that I feel, and I was talking to Dave about this.
Mm-hmm.
That there's definitely an aspect where you can look at it and be like, like there are secrets that we're not really being told in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's stuff that you're kind of like, do I want to keep watching? Will you tell me who this is? Like, why did this person show up? And there's a lot of little bits of tidbits, but I agree that they not reading the source material, and there are like 3 versions of the source material that they should have been, original Secret Invasion, then obviously with the Beyonder, then you have the newer Secret Invasion that was done in the mid 2020s or early 2000s, and then like right in the beginning of this, like what was it, earlier this year, Ultimate Invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Why they haven't touched upon that, I'm confused, but makes sense that they're not touching the source material, but I don't know why you wouldn't go to it.
It's an easy template. It's like you have an easy template that you can just look at and then be like, all right, we're gonna borrow this, take that, do whatever. But to kind of just be like, no, go in blind. I'm like, why would you purposely do that? Like it just doesn't make any sense to me.
How much do you know how much per episode they cost to make it? Because I mean, if you were to think about it, you'd have to have Iron Man show up and Spider-Woman show up, and if you had Tony show up in an episode, like,
it's gonna start to cost you.
That's money right there. And the mouse would the mouse spend the money? Probably, because I know they did for what was it, the new Iron Wars or the Armor Wars. He's gonna be in that. So,
Robert Downey.
Yeah, they basically had him, like, there was right when Don Cheadle had, like, they advertised it last year. They were like, Robert Downey kind of like said on his Twitter, he was like, hey, yeah, I'll be cameoing, but it's supposed to be, his cameo is supposed to be like a past, like it's gonna be we're gonna be looking at the past through his eyes, or through like Rhodey's eyes or something like that, they said.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
So I mean, if he shows up in there, awesome, because everybody was like, does that mean we're going to see him as Iron Man again? Like, are we going to see him show up, or is his daughter going to show up? I mean, there's so much talk. So
yeah, I thought we were going to get a AI Tony Stark, and that's how they would get him in there to be with Riri Williams, but maybe Black Panther didn't do that well, that they're not even moving forward with any Riri Williams anything.
They need to seriously. If you don't put Riri, I mean, or Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, because like I was just showing my wife a picture of the Moon Girl cartoon, because our youngest to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, if Riri Williams is like she's the 3rd smartest person on the planet.
Yeah.
With Tony being the number 1, and Moon Girl is like the number 2.
Yeah.
So like, why would you not have her be a part of this? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I just think that the movie tried to do too much, and because of it, I think that's where she got like overshadowed, and it didn't. There was no love for her following that movie. So,
Well, do you feel like before we move forward, do you think Phase 4 was just bad, and that
oh
Phase
yeah,
5 has been kind of sitting on the same
wash.
kind of tangent, even though Secret Invasion is Phase 5?
It was a wash. Phase 4 was an absolute wash. Um, and sorry, everybody, I was distracted. I was trying to pull up the box office Excel sheet that we have going on, and I forgot my password, so I have to reset it. Um, I just think and thank you, Dre, for maintaining. While I was just like, I don't remember my password. I think Phase 4 was just no direction. Like Endgame finishes, and they're like, great work. Shit, what do we do now? And they popped out all these movies with no thread to connect them all. And the worst part, I think, was the TV shows, because now you showed us, what was the first show? Loki, I think, was out first.
It was the Miss Marvel, then
Well,
and She-Hulk, and WandaVision really kind of started it all off. Then it was Loki.
Okay.
Then it was Loki, WandaVision, Loki, then Miss Marvel, which kind of gave us direction for the next set of movies, and kind
Right.
of like He Who Remains.
Yeah.
John
Yeah.
Major's camp. And then it kind of led us into like, oh, well, Shang-Chi leads us into where we're going to see a variant show up. And then
Right.
Captain Marvel, the rings, and like, then Eternals too. But now with all the writer strike going on, are we going to even see any of that anytime soon?
Well, the issue I had with all those shows was WandaVision makes you think that, one, she was turning evil, and kind of you start to realize as you're watching it, like, is she evil? Is she just kind of like mentally not there? All the trauma and stuff. But it makes you think that she's somehow involved in multiverse stuff. But then Loki happens, and you're like, oh, Loki's the reason multiversal stuff has happened. But then Doctor Strange 2 comes out, and it's like, no, Peter Parker's the reason multiversal stuff has happened. But then they reference in Doctor Strange, I'm thinking of the Spider-Man movie. The Spider-Man movie makes you think Peter Parker's responsible. Then Doctor Strange comes out and makes you think he's responsible, but then they still mention Wanda. So I'm like, who's responsible for the multiversal stuff, first of all? And what are the rules to this? Because every show had a different reasoning for why it happened and how it happens. And I heard one of the reasons why it all got convoluted, Spider-Man was originally going to come out after Doctor Strange, and America Chavez was supposed to be in Spider-Man, but then they changed it up, and that's why it's the Wish that changes things, and then she's just kind of rushed into Doctor Strange.
Which makes sense in why you see the avalanche that we saw.
Yeah. They're like, what do we do? Avalanche. Dead.
Yeah, don't worry about this. We'll just see if it works. It's like, take the shit, throw it against the wall like spaghetti. If it's done, it'll stick. If it doesn't, sticks. We'll make it work.
Yeah. All right, so I will quickly go into what to watch this week, and I'll tie in last week. The major thing is, of course, we mentioned Secret Invasion. That's what's going on the Marvel side. Watch it. Dre and I think both agree you guys should watch it just to see what's going on. Like, I'm not telling you it's going to be the greatest show ever, but I would still give it a chance.
Definitely a slow burn.
Yeah, exactly. But the other thing that currently started 2 weeks ago, and I fell behind on mentioning it, Star Trek Strange New Worlds season 2 is out. Have you seen it?
Yes, Pike is back, baby.
He's a great
love
captain.
big trucker.
Yeah, yeah. I'm loving that show. It's hard because how would you explain to somebody who's not watched any of the newer Star Trek? Would you say they have to watch Discovery first before Strange New Worlds, or can they just jump in?
I would say for anybody that's not a Trekker, like a diehard, and for those of you that don't know, Trekker is a Star Trek, like a diehard Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
Um, if you watched the current stuff that came out, like the current movies under the Abrams flag,
Mm-hmm.
that verse that splintered off is what created Strange Worlds or Strange New Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are a fan of the Captain Pike, which I am,
Yep.
this is off spin of that universe, and that's what's kind of been like when we just talking in the multiverse. This is the multiverse for Star Trek. Like Discovery is the linchpin that lynches that whole multiverse together. Pike is basically another key character in that multiverse. Like, what if he never died? And we get a lot of cool. We do get Kirk, young Kirk. We do get
Mm-hmm.
young Spock, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a definitely different Enterprise. It's a different beast, and it's such a great show.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, can't recommend it enough. Can't recommend it enough. I'm glad finally somebody else outside of my household has watched it.
But yeah, I know a lot of people love it, but I love it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's good. All right, so next segment is going to be. Oh, sorry. And then this week's release, like I said, those two shows. Indiana Jones drops this weekend. Any interest? Or are you skipping?
I am. I mean, he's what inspired me to become a teacher.
Oh.
I mean, if it wasn't for my daughter's third birthday on Friday, I would probably say that I might be going to see it next week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would. A might is probably I'm going to definitely be seeing it next week. So even
Are you
if it's
collecting?
bad,
Are you collecting the figures?
um, yes, up until I saw that they're making the SH figure arts from
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost, and that's what stopped me from buying the rest of them. I might just get the Temple of Doom one,
Mm-hmm.
and then get Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. All right. So our favorite segment of the week, the box office recap. Now, I'm going to say right now, spoilers. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. By the way, what's up, Rolando? Good to see you. And the Legacy of Nerd, Daniel, has entered the chat. Good to see you.
Wow, loved it.
Oh, yeah. Everybody stops by on their morning commutes, dropping kids off, doing all that stuff, getting ready for work. So that's what this show, that's the service it provides. As you're going from place to place, you can jump in, jump out.
Like you said, your morning cup of coffee. You gotta love it.
Exactly. So, spoilers for Flash, because we're going to talk Flash. Of course, we're talking box office, but Dre and I did want to discuss it. This is my first time talking to somebody who has seen it. Last week, my friend did not see it. So, and I kept the spoilers to a 0, to none. No spoilers last week. Spoilers this week. So before we talk about the movie, the bombing continues. Flash dropped to third place last weekend under Elemental, which is the biggest L I think you could take. I mean, Transformers dropping under Elemental, I'm not surprised. But the fact that Flash dropped so fast, this movie does nothing for DC. This movie, complete waste. They're not even promoting it anymore. So I will say, first question to you, did you like the movie at all or hated it?
Okay, so my teen daughter, wanted to go see it. So we
Mhm.
went and saw it on Thursday night.
Mhm.
And I never go see movies on the day before. The only time I've ever done it was for Marvel.
Mhm.
And that was I saw it on Thursday, and then I saw it Friday.
Wait, for which? Sorry, which movie?
For Endgame and for Infinity. Those are the only times I ever go Thursday release. It was a bad experience in the theater because people were just on their phones talking the entire freaking time. The movie itself had elements where I was like, this isn't really for me.
Oh,
They're
interesting.
catering to my daughter. the casual fan who doesn't
Interesting.
know all the drama. Like I felt like I enjoyed the nostalgia for Keaton
Mm-hmm.
because that's the main reason I wanted to go because I'm a diehard Batman '89 fan.
Right.
But like Supergirl was, I mean, first off, having her be a person of color,
Mm-hmm.
amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and having her be like she's hot. Like Melissa Benoist is beautiful, but like Sasha Calle, she killed it.
Yeah.
And I like the multiversal stuff. Debatable.
Yeah.
Do I
The
he
CGI
had
was just terrible when they did the multiversal stuff.
it's the guy who did it.
Yeah.
Like when Dave and I did our show and we mentioned him, I was like, oh my god, Muschietti, what the heck were you fucking thinking?
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
Yeah.
So bad. I
Yeah.
mean, I walked out of the theater. It was a good popcorn movie.
Mm-hmm.
What that I paid like $35 for tickets? Yes, I did. So
I so I have fully come to understand I am mentally unwell. I am not well in the head because I loved this movie. And I think it's because so many of you didn't like it that the bar in my head was set so low that things just happening, I was just like fine with it. I said it last week. I'll say it now in case anybody missed it. I actually enjoyed this movie more than Across the Spider-Verse, which is absolute blasphemy. I understand. I know that what I said is not right. And maybe it's because the runtime was shorter. That could have been it too. I tell you, man, nobody shares that sentiment with me. Not one person. Maybe Ezra Miller does, and that's about that's about it.
yeah, even there's so much there is so much vitriol out there about how bad this movie was.
Yeah.
And like it's funny when you say that. If you saw the picture I posted in our group chat, I've been putting Across the Spider-Verse posters up in my house. So that movie won me over.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, Flash just oof.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump real quick into we're slowly going to go back into nerd news that incorporates the Flash. And one of these things I feel could have actually helped the movie make more money. Now, I will say this, and this stance still holds from before I saw the movie. I didn't want this movie to succeed because of Ezra Miller. I thought they should have just canned the movie. I think them not addressing any of the issues with Ezra Miller was one of the biggest L's they could have ever done. And for that, am I happy this movie's failing? Kinda, because I don't want them to be like enticed to be like, you know what, we'll try again with Ezra. Like I don't need that. I don't want that. I don't think anybody does. But there's one thing I was asking myself when the movie came out that I'm glad they finally addressed it. And it came via somebody who I absolutely hate, Kevin Smith. When we were approaching like 3 weeks out, in my head and at work, I was thinking, would this movie have sold more if we swapped out Keaton for Bale? And the reason I say that, and this article is different, and I'll explain the differences. The reason I say that is the younger generation, who I happen to employ quite often, like the college to like under 25 year old person generally works at my store. Their Batman is Christian Bale. Like when I mention 89, Batman Returns, hell, Batman Forever, they have no idea what I'm talking about. But these kids watch the Dark Knight trilogy like as watch parties with their friends. Like people go hard, or kids go hard for the Dark Knight trilogy. And I was wondering, would the movie have done better if you had swapped him for Keaton? And then the post credit, which is what this addresses, instead of George Clooney getting out of the car, which I'll get your take on that, maybe Michael Keaton gets out of the car. And then we're like, oh shit. Now I got to see more. Now I want more. What are your thoughts on that idea of swapping Bale for Keaton?
Here's my hot take on that.
Mm-hmm.
If for good money, I would have had still put in Keaton to be in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Bale should have been the one to come out of the car.
Yeah.
I think Bale is a good Batman. He was, I mean, when I turned, God, I'm gonna sound real old. When I turned 31 was
Mm-hmm.
when the first his Batman movie, The Dark Knight, came out,
Yeah.
which is one of my Batman movies of all time. Right behind 89. And
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, Bale was a decent Batman, but Batfleck needed more screen time. I feel like I know that he is working on another project for Brave and the Bold, and I know that Affleck's working on that, but that would have been like, why didn't you have Robert Pattinson show up? Because
I was thinking that too. Yeah.
the Nolanverse Batman, which is a lot of people was not a part of DC canon.
Yeah.
And that would have been an interesting hot take to have him show up and be like, like, you went to the Nolanverse, like, oh
Yeah.
crap, that's the dark place. That's where some of the evil people are,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think I think it would have sold more tickets if he was actually going to be side by side with Keaton. Like if
Yeah.
you had Bale fight alongside with him, that would have been
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah. Yeah. But according to Kevin Smith, he didn't want to come back, which, I could understand people being like, I don't want to be involved in this movie. Like I get it. I don't know if that's the reason why he didn't want to do it. I know that he's very much like, if Nolan's not involved, I'm not involved. But
we got Oppenheimer, which looks freaking dope. So
you're like one of three people I know is maybe going to see it.
That's like my thing. Like, I'm a history teacher by what to do. I have to go see Oppenheimer, and I love Nolan. So.
Yeah. Going to the chat real quick. So people mainly agree that I'm insane. But where was it? JB said bringing back Christopher Reeve was disappointing. I was so mad. That was spoiled for me via Twitter, and I was hoping that was fake because it looked fake. And seeing that that's actually how it looked, I was like, you pieces of shit.
And that was terrible.
Which one?
Adam West. Remember when they did the bottom of that world, and how they did that multiversal world, the literal worlds colliding? I'm like,
straight up Marvel in was it Incursions or whatever it was called?
Yeah, the Incursions. I was like, oh God, like, yeah, it was cool to see Wesley Shipp in there, and it was cool to see Zoom as Jay Garrick. I mean, like, there were elements that were cool, but where was Grant Gustin?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, you went to the Arrowverse and showed us Green Arrow, but you didn't show us Grant Gustin, who you put in a crossover in the TV show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so many missed opportunities, and just the like
I talked about it on the show, and Aaron and Anthony on the latest Ramble talked about it. You could have just swapped. You could have just swapped Ezra with Grant. Like, first of all, even though they both technically play Barry Allen, they are both not Barry Allen. Like, Ezra Miller to me is straight up a Wally West hybrid of Barry Allen. But just swap them out, just like in the Justice League cartoon. Be like, whoa, what's going on? And you're like, oh, sorry, I'm this person. Continue, and the movie proceeds. Like, you could have just done it, but
here's another thing: as a person of color, and being Latino on top of that, what was up with being Puerto Rican or Mexican singing old Mexican hymnals and stuff, and like, canciones, and like, he's sitting there like, oh, I get it, and I'm gonna start speaking Spanish. Like, I was like, that's never been a Flash thing. Like, are you trying to be woke? Like, what are you doing?
What are you going for? Yeah. JB says Bale would have been good if it was a Dark Knight type of film. It was more 89 vibes, so I think it wouldn't have fit. Makes sense. Kenobi says Oppenheimer looks very cinematic. I'll give you that. the last bit of news on this movie. The director, Andy, he confirmed that Reverse Flash is who killed Nora Allen.
Where?
Yeah. So
plot hole, folks. You want to drive a truck through a plot hole?
Yeah.
How did you get stabbed?
Yeah. I was sitting there, and as the movie's going on, I was like, all right, I feel like it's pretty obvious that younger Barry would be Reverse Flash, right? Like, I feel like that's obvious as to what they were going to allude to, or they were alluding to it the whole time. And when he didn't really go Reverse Flash, I was confused. But the part when he realizes that Supergirl's going to keep dying, and he's like, no, we're going to keep changing things. We're going to keep changing things. I was like, oh, shit, are they going to fully commit to this bit? And it gets to the point where he's like, you know what? We got to set things right. I got to kill my mom. It's the only way to make things right. And I thought he was going to go back and they were going to show it. And I was like, holy shit, this movie's going to go hard. Like, this movie's going to go hard. And they didn't do it. They didn't commit to him being Reverse Flash. And, like, this is how you explain to us that, oh, yeah, he kind of was. And he did it, but all off screen.
It was the can of tomatoes. That's all they wanted us to know. They were trying to look at the flowers from The Walking Dead. Go ahead, look at the flowers. Look at the flowers. Bang.
Yeah. Oh, man. That would have been, I think for a lot of people, that would have saved the movie if he did go straight up villain like that. But
the part that was there because it was too goofy at one point. Yeah.
You know, and Aaron and Anthony talked about this on the Ramble. I encourage all of you to listen to it. Latest episode of Rambling with Anthony. Why is younger Barry like stupid now because his mom lived and spoiled when we saw in the beginning of the movie that he was still smart, doing formulas, doing his homework. She's like, make sure you do homework. Like, she was on top of him. Why did her dying or her not dying turn him into a piece of shit? I was like, where did that come from? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it really didn't. It was like, it felt like that was a plot hole I was thinking about too. Cause I was like, well, why if he's not dead, but mom's alive? And I was like, is that like a play on the Latino mom trope that we become like, you know,
spoiled.
princes really do anything, spoiled? Because that's kind of what they were going for. And then the dad was really never really involved. And the dad, the working class dad, I'm like, okay. And there was so many, like, for a guy who did it, which garnered so much money, I expected more.
That's fair. Man. Kenobi says they're trying to be Miles Morales. I think I felt that with the mom. I felt like the mom was very much the mom from Spider-Verse. You know, I don't.
Oh, yeah. They did. Nora, to me, was, when I think of the Flash TV series, which recently ended, I think of Nora Allen, like, you know, where, you know, she was, you know, this loving mom that was like a traditional, like, to me, the character's never been a character of color. And to introduce aspects of that into this movie made no sense. You know, it's like, what was that in reference to, and why was that done? And, you know, like, there was just so many odd things, and the whole Reverse Flash thing was, like you said, if they had committed to, I think that would have been the shock value for my daughter to see him as a kid go back and stab his mom.
Yeah.
That would have been like the oh shit moment for her. That would have been no shit for me because I was expecting it.
Yeah.
But when I just see him go into the cart and be like, I love you, Mom.
Yeah.
And the beans back, and I was like, or the tomatoes back, and I was like, that's it?
Yeah.
For real? Oh, man, you screwed up the multiverse for this crap?
Yeah. I did like the dialogue. I did have an emotional pull there because I'm like, one of the things I hated about myself in the movie was I liked his performance. Like, I felt like Ezra was really trying. And in that scene, that dialogue, that moment, I was like, I could feel the emotion here, but I also felt like the emotion they were pulling from us in like, almost like the Last Jedi when Kylo's like, you just need to let go. I felt like that was a good moment to be like, he needs to let go of that thought that he could save his mom, but us as viewers need to also let go of this universe and put the can back, runs back to present day. Everything's different because we're getting rid of the Snyderverse. We're doing a whole new thing. And the fact that the movie does not reset Snyderverse at all. I'm just like, what was the point of this? Like you said, what's the point of this movie?
And I mean, that's a big, like, kind of drawback because we all know that Aquaman's, doing the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
Nobody from what I've heard, only one person is looked at being saved from the original Snyderverse in James Gunn's eyes, and that's right now Gal Gadot.
Mm.
And if you're trying to save her and Batfleck, because I know
Mm-hmm.
he signed on to write and direct Brave and the Bold, I'm like, okay. And I know Matt Reeves is like, this is an Elseworlds universe for his Batman with
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson. I'm like, okay, if this is where you're going, where we were going Elseworlds, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to give me what the MCU gave me. I need my 19999.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what's my universe that I'm going to be watching from now on in the theaters so
Yeah.
that I know, like, watch like Swamp Thing, I'm seeing Elseworlds.
Yeah. And that's Gunn's idea. He does want to do that. He was like, I'm gonna have one standard universe that's where like Creature Commandos, Peacemaker, the new Superman movie coming out, they're all gonna be whatever that main timeline is. Everything else will be an Elseworld, but they've got to find a way to label it. Like label it so that we know that's not canon and we can skip it if we want to or whatever.
Well, that called
Um,
New 52. I mean, like, borrow from
yeah.
the in the actual DC canon. Like, if Blue Beetle's supposed to fit into this new canon, because
Mhm.
technically he's the newest movie in the new timeline,
Yeah.
what are we going to call his universe? Like, Batman exists in his universe. Which
Yeah.
Batman do we get?
Yeah.
The Batfleck?
Yeah.
Are we going to hear about Shazam, Black Adam? Are they going to mention those other people? Is he going to mention Peacemaker and Suicide Squad?
Yeah. Yeah. Does their stuff change? You know, he doesn't have
I
an
don't
easy
think
job ahead of him.
that's money. That's money right there. But I mean, John Cena's money for Peacemaker. I mean,
Yeah. That show's so good.
keep making more. Make me a movie of him. Put him in the
Yeah.
Suicide Squad third movie. Like, I will go pay money to go see that because he's funny as heck.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, there's a lot. There was a lot wrong with Flash. Will I buy it on Blu-ray? Yes. Hoping because they said it was a 4-hour director's cut that was left on the floor. So I'm definitely wanting to see what they left on the floor to
Yeah.
see if it's
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure, sir. I'm glad you're able to jump on. Any
again. Sorry,
last?
love this. This was awesome.
No, you're good. You're good. Any last comments or things you wanted to mention before we call it an episode?
Let's see. Comments. This is a great show, folks. You need to be watching it more. If you're not, this is a great cup of coffee to be talking with your boy and just getting a nerd out about stuff. Awesome stuff. The what I have going on this week, I'm doing a live tomorrow with EC Collecting. We're gonna be doing something old school I haven't done in a while, cracking open toys and just
Hey.
BSing at 3 o'clock till 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And then obviously, y'all know Dave and I do our Outer Dimensions podcast, and we're going to be talking about the MCU. We called it the MCU Beta 1. So we're talking Nick Fury with the Don't Hassle the Hoff, you know, the Punisher, and Matt Salinger as Captain America. Yes, folks, these are the bad movies that led us into the greatness that is the MCU.
You know, those movies should have been referenced in Doctor Strange. The fact that Hasselhoff was not in Doctor Strange is an absolute crime. An
Oh, it was.
absolute crime.
You should put him in Secret Invasion. Just so you know, a little early tidbit, because I'll mention it on the show on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
There were 5 movies slated with Nick Fury helming them.
Yeah.
And and they got scrapped because it was so terrible, direct to Sci-Fi Channel, whatever it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker to this: the movie poster, Nick Fury, the
Mm.
last superhero,
Mm.
no superpowers.
Yeah. Yeah. What could have been? Fantastic Four. Yeah.
Wait, which one? Roger Corman?
That old, like, really shitty one that they never really released. It was like I
Yes,
think.
the porn director one that he did that
Yes.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
there was that one, and then we're actually going to be doing a whole like actor spotlight on different ones of the like who should have been,
Mm-hmm.
and like we're putting together the Fantastic Four of those like who did it better.
Mm.
So that one's going to be mentioned.
I love that. I love that. Well, sir, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. Let me hit that music. And can't wait to have it on again. It'll be a good time.
You let me know.
Links in the chat for Dre and for the other channels that he's going to be on. Dave's Dimension, EC. Those are in the comment section right now. Make sure you subscribe over there, as I'm starting to get congested towards the end of the stream. But I'm glad my nose lasted till the end. Nerdy
Same.
Coffee. Yeah. Nerdy Coffee every Monday. See? Starting to go. Nerdy Coffee every Monday morning here on Nerd Affiliated. 9 a.m.-ish at Nerd Affiliated. Thursday night, 8:15-ish p.m. here at Nerd Affiliated. You're stuck with me again. Hey Archer Live. More unboxings, more shorts. Sal just dropped a video yesterday. Check that out. A lot of fun stuff coming from myself, Aaron, Anthony, and Sal. Sal, the only one who doesn't have an A name. So we got to fire him or get him to legally change his name. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll talk to all you nerds in the next video. Peace. We're out of here.